Intel Ignite is a fairly new program at Intel. It's a 2.5-year-old program. We started out at Tel Aviv. We're in Europe in our Munich operations. We just started our operation in Boston, and we're going to have another location we're going to announce soon. And it's the engine that connects Intel to the startup ecosystem. You're going to see here in Web Summit to how do we connect to the disruptors of the world. So again, most of them know about Intel, but they don't think Intel is relevant. We think Intel is super relevant for them. But in order to make that connection, we created Ignite. It's an accelerator program.
And you have several areas where you sort of aim to co-create the future of tech. It's AI, machine learning, software, DevOps. What areas do you see as most relevant right now and perhaps even going forward?
So it's super broad, right? Yeah. And on one end, you look at future of compute, so quantum computing, optical computing. On the other hand, you look at many enterprise SaaS companies doing AI in different areas, Web3. So I think that's what's fascinating in the technology world. It's very broad, and we see unbelievable companies coming through the program. We just had a company starting our Munich program that does silicon fabs in space. So it's really amazing, and it's very broad.
Yeah. And you yourself, you've both co-funded a lot of successful companies and you've driven accelerators in some of our biggest tech companies. What do you think is needed to sort of keep that mindset to prosper?
So culture at these large tech companies is a big challenge. We have super smart people in these big companies, but they think in a certain way. And in our world, our age of world, you have to change that mindset and make it much more agile, much more open to learn from new ideas from disruptors of the world. I don't think there's a technology company and an industrial company that can afford not working with these disruptors and changing their mindset because it's all about co-creating future with them. All of that innovation will not come from within. So the change of mindset is super critical. I think Satya Nadella at Microsoft called it growth mindset, right? This ability to change from your fixed mindset to this growth mindset, and how do you evolve in the process. So we're going through a similar culture change under Pat Gelsinger, our CEO, like some other tech companies, and again, very critical to change.
Yeah, and you're often talking about young talent and entrepreneurs that might not really go for the big tech companies, but with this sort of cultural shift, is that you think the best way to sort of get them more attracted?
Yeah, so I believe that the biggest ideas and the biggest transformation will come actually from these small little companies, and if you catch them early enough and you get that brilliant idea and you co-create a technology future together with them, you're going to win over others. And but you need to be open. You need to be open to accept that early. And that's not easy. That's not easy for us big companies to be open and accept that. And that's why we created something like this at Intel. And as you said, it's a brand that we all know, but for startups, it wasn't the brand that was so approachable. So we're trying to make it approachable, and we believe that from these little companies, we're going to create big future for the tech world.
Yeah, so as a leader, you've been a leader for many years. How do you sort of succeed with that mindset when you're working with a group?
So I've been a leader. I've been a founder. I see myself as an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for the past 30 years. And I think that's the beauty of bringing it into a company like Intel. We're creating what we call Intelpreneurs. So these are people from within Intel that become much more entrepreneurial in their mindset. Also the permission to experiment and to make mistakes, which is, again, not easy in these companies where you measure people on their success and you give them credits on their success. We need to give them enough credits for experimenting and making failures and actually celebrate failures. Not easy to do in these companies, but very critical in order to get innovation out. So I believe in leading change, and I believe in leading change through experimentation and through celebrating many things that happens while you experiment.
Could this help us also in the unpredicting times that we're in?
So, because these are unpredictable times, we don't know what's going to happen next, right? And we need to be open to think about things in different ways and experiment and try things in a different way. If you look at our presence here at Web Summit, it's very different than the usual presence you would expect from an Intel to be at these events. So we're experimenting all kind of new ways. The future is different, it's constantly changing. I strongly believe that that experimentation that I talked about is critical in order to deal with the upcoming future, which we just don't know what to predict is going to happen, right?
Sounds great. Thank you so much for taking your time, Zack Weisfeld.
Thank you very much.